But yeah, I do want to touch on this as well. Nate Sudfeld back in the fold per Spencer Raxter. Per who do we have to attribute somebody or whoever tweeted it?
Yeah.
Lots of people out there tweeted it.
Yeah, everybody tweeted it.
Yeah.
The Lions, Ari Mirov.
Okay, the Lions. Well, it's per the Lions, Nate Sudfeld.
Jeff Risdon.
So here's the deal here with that. I like it, obviously, because you know where I live on this whole backup quarterback situation. But this kind of intertwines nicely with the little segment Spenmo had lined up there. Pro Football Focus has been out there in the street saying that Hendon Hooker could be a landing spot for the Detroit Lions. And D-Mac, I guess for me, that this is the scenario I wanted to see. You bring back Sudfeld, because to me, Sudfeld's the same as anybody else. You're going to sign these dudes and hope they don't play.
To me, what it tells me is there was a communication in the quarterback's room or something that there's the comfortability between Sudfeld and Jared Goff and Ben Johnson and Mark Brunell and all this stuff. That's all it means. It doesn't change the fact that if Nate Sudfeld's in, we're probably not winning, right? But in helping prepare along the same lines as who your goaltender and who your backup goaltender is, right? A lot of times. So if this is a situation like Chris Osgood and Mike Vernon, right? Back in winning the Cups in 97 and then Ozzie taking the helm in 98. Not saying that Sudfeld take it over, but there's a relationship there to help prepare. What's the terms? We don't know the terms, but it can't be more than a couple million, right?
Right, yeah. Obviously.
So it fits in, right? Let's talk it out. Fits into what we were talking about. Leaves you money to go get somebody else, whoever that person may be. And to the fact about, again, if Brad Holmes, no matter who he decides to draft, right? I would look at the writing on the wall. If he likes any of those quarterbacks, like we're talking about a Hendon Hooker or a Stetson Bennett or all these guys later in the draft, well, there'd be a reason that he would draft them. And if he does, cool.
Just to give you a frame of reference, last year, Nate Sudfeld was 1 year, $1 million. So it's right on brand.
Maybe he gets a raise, 1.2.
1.1, 1.2, yeah. Right on brand with where I was living. WoodwardSports.com chat thread. A Dirty Burrito says, more like Nate Studfeld. Right, Spenmo?
Oh, yeah.
Pistons fan 11. Neal, please help me. I'm losing my mind. I've already seen several people suggest that we should have waited till after the draft to keep a Sudfeld should have waited till after the draft to keep Sudfeld as if it changes anything, LOL. And Pistons fan, that's a great segue into this because the Hendon Hooker thing to me seems even more likely now.
Yeah, because
seems even more likely.
Right, sit him at third.
Yeah,
a project.
What realistically, what were you going to do? And see, this is where I can kind of circle back on the whole $7 million backup quarterback people. Okay. This is how easy it would have been to fool them, right? You could have rolled in, taken a quarterback in the 6th round of the draft, and everyone would have been happy. Is that fair to say? Everyone would have said, oh, well, they addressed the quarterback situation. When in reality, you're literally in the same spot as not having a backup. Is 6th-round quarterback's going to step in the 4th quarter of a tie game in Week 15 in a game you got to have to win the division, and you're going to expect to win? Like, no. No.
And Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett, you can flip-flop names or insert any name here.
Whatever. The point of the story is, when you sign Sudfeld, what I love what they're doing is you can kind of roll the bones. It does tell me that one of those 6th-round picks, I get the feeling, will be a roll of the bones. They'll step up to the crap table, maybe the 7th-round pick, I don't know, but they do have 2 6th-rounders. And Brad will line up the dice, and he'll blow on it, and he'll flip it down the table and see what happens. Yeah, like a Hendon Hooker, whoever, Stetson Bennett, whoever. The name's immaterial. So you give it Spenny's guy out of Houston.
Clayton
Tune. Do it for Spenny. Bring him home, even though he's probably never been to this area before. But bring him home nonetheless. And I love it because it insulates that rookie. You're going to draft. It's basically a European NBA draft and stash. That's what it is.
Or it's more like the NHL.
Same deal.
You know what I'm saying? See in a few years or it doesn't matter. But again, the biggest part is the fact that whether it's throwing a whim out there or whatever it is, Brad Holmes is still drafting this person. So the due diligence behind it, right? It's got to be somebody. He's not going to just pick somebody out of a hat.
Right. WoodwardSports.com chat thread, GW the Kid. We got a backup quarterback. Nice. Can we stop talking about it? GW, we are in about 3 minutes. Okay, just to let you behind the curtain a little bit. Because I'm with you. I thought this whole conversation was absurd. The Teddy Bridgewater people, the Jacoby Brissett people, all of it. I thought it was all absurd. And we saw this in other sports entities in this town. We saw it. We heard it. I mean, they were one step short of pounding the table for it. I thought it was lunacy the whole time.
Did Jacoby Brissett get 8?
I can't remember, 6, 8.
6, 8. So
between
pretty much
5 and
you
8.
got Sudfeld and David Montgomery for Jacoby Brissett. You ever put in that context?
And a rookie.
Okay. Done.
Does
Let's
anybody
move on.
disagree?
I mean, the only thing is I don't think Hendon Hooker will last to the 6th round. I think he's more likely to be a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. The bigger question is, would you want to use one of those picks on
Absolutely
Hendon Hooker?
not. Not when I got Spenmo's guy, Clayton Toon. We're going to bring him home.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I am warming up to the idea of Hendon Hooker more and more every day, even if it is a higher round pick, honestly. Because Hendon Hooker in his last 2 years at Tennessee combined for 58 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got the accuracy. He just has some injury and age concerns. And also, you saw how he shredded Alabama against a defense that included Will Anderson and Brian Branch, 2 guys that the Lions have been at some points mocked to. So Hendon Hooker,
all pre-ACL.
that's fair.
All pre-ACL.
But he doesn't rely on his legs as much as you think. He's a good pocket
No,
passer.
yeah, but that's fine. But he has to rely on his ACL to like drop back and pass and everything like that. And here's the deal too. But here, I'll feed your argument and I'll go back to it. This is my default Hendon Hooker discussion. It will be good for Jared Goff to have a veteran presence backing him up.
I mean, yeah, he's old. I mean, so is Stetson Bennett. They're both old. But Hendon Hooker, like I said, I'm just with the fact that Jared Goff is only under contract for 2 more years, you might have to extend him. I think it's worth a roll of the dice, especially with what the Lions already addressed in free agency defensively. I wouldn't mind it at all.
I'm more on the page of Weston Voorhees in the WoodwardSports.com chat where he said we need a mobile quarterback for the practice squad. The D was terrible against the mobile quarterback last year. Gives you options if you're thinking on the next level of how to prepare your defense if it falls into place. Why it would make sense to draft him. So, yes, maybe you're looking, if a quarterback gets drafted, look to see how mobile he is. Gives a different look, and it brings up a great point about in practice.
This is why I love our audience, too, here on Big D Energy and the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Sometimes I don't even have to do the arguing, right? Peaceful Tim says, if Goff gets hurt, we'll remind you of these conversations, Neal. And I don't even have to respond because Pistons fan 11 says, Neal, even Gardner Minshew was 0-2 on the Eagles last year. Everybody's golden boy, Gardner Minshew. He didn't win a game when he had the opportunity. Stop with this. If you lose your starting quarterback, you're cooked. You got Cam Newton saying over here, there ain't no way that 32 quarterbacks in this league are better than me. The 32 starting quarterbacks. Cam Newton's even thinking that. Like, guys, it's not... You lose your starting quarterback, you lose in the National Football League. You may be able to get by on a possession or a quarter or a half of a game. If that's the bell you're ringing, you're done. You're done. That's it. So... whatever. And Peaceful Tim, I'll go back to that. Okay, then what's your strategy? What's your backup strategy? Because with mine, I got you David Montgomery and a backup quarterback. It's all money based because that's how we keep scoring the NFL. That's the rules you have to play by. I'm not interested in wasting the money, man.